There are 3 ways that you can name a car. Christening it with some cool sounding word like Corvette, Insignia, or La Puta. Yeah, that car does exist. You can also play it safe with a mumbo jumbo of numbers and letters like Audi RS3, McLaren F1, Infiniti QX50. And finally, you can just name that after a person. Hey guys, Stype here, bringing you a list of cars with people's names. Yeah, let's go. Starting with the most expensive one on the list, the $3.5 million Pagani Huayra BC. More wings means it's prettier than ever before. More power means it's faster too, but what's the meaning of this BC then? Before Christ? Nope, those are actually the initials of Benny Caiola.
Who he? What he did?
Well, Benny was a real estate mogul, but also a big car nut and Pagani's first ever customer. When the Zonda 12C was first revealed in 1999, it was this charismatic old Italian who was the first to say, "Shut up and take my money!" And the love wasn't just at first sight. He was so impressed by the Zonda that he sent a letter to Horatio, praising the car above any Ferrari that he'd ever owned, and Benny owned some of the finest prancing horses ever made. That letter, by the way, now hangs framed inside the Pagani's factory. The old BC would later buy the Zonda F2 and become a very close friend of Mr. Pagani. So close, in fact, that after his death, Horatio paid the ultimate tribute by naming his latest creation after him. Extra bit of trivia here, the Zonda 12C was also named after a person. That C stands for Christina Pagani, Horatio's wife. I guess that wasn't enough though, because she divorced his sorry ass in 2017.
I said, bitch.
A somewhat bitchy move was what the Spice Girl Victoria Beckham did at the Range Rover Evoque reveal event. She kind of went off script and blurted out, "When I designed this car?" Hold on, wait a minute. What? I know that she's involved in fashion, like being a designer or something, but that doesn't mean that she can do car designs too. I mean, I should know, I'm a graphic designer and you don't see me getting offers from BMW to fix their models. Not that that would be a very hard thing to do. The thing is, Miss Beckham was referring to this double the normal price special edition with some rose gold details, matte gray paint, and a pair of his and her bags adorned by Victoria's signatures. But the media caught the attention of the "I designed this car" statement and made it the official story for quite some time. Still, part of the blame for this blunder falls on Range Rover too. They hired her star power to promote this posh new SUV, see what I did there, and even gave her the creative design executive position, which is just a load of BS in my opinion. And wait till you hear what they named her special edition model, the Range Rover Evoque with Victoria Beckham, not by, with. Honestly, those Brits really are a bunch of pompous twats. And so, if for any reason you really must have a car with the VB initials, my suggestion is that you go for the Lamborghini Gallardo, the Valentino Balboni edition. Valentino who?
My name is Valentino Balboni. I have the best job in the world.
Balboni worked at Lamborghini for 40 years, most of which at the position of chief test driver. By the time he retired, over 80% of all Lambos ever built had gone through his hands to make sure that they were up to the Lambo levels of insanity. And now compare that to your job. Being such a critical figure in the company didn't go unnoticed either, so as a goodbye gift, Lamborghini created a very special version of their best-selling model ever, the Gallardo LP552 Valentino Balboni. The thing is, on the outside, it doesn't look very special at all, does it? Aside from the racing stripe running across the top, the VB looks just like a regular model. However, it's under the screaming bright paint where all the difference is. The Balboni has 10 horsepower less, a slower manual transmission, and no all-wheel drive, by the way. But guess what? That made it better. This was a proper driver's car and the first rear-wheel drive Lambo in a long time, which means that when you put your foot down, the results can be very dramatic indeed. Less really is more. And at number 4, I thought I could mention a whole bunch of cars under one group. Cars named after racing drivers. You know the ones, the McLaren Senna, Mitsubishi Evo 6, the Tommy McKinnon edition, SLR, Sterling Moss, even the Chiron, Veyron, and Devo are named after Bugatti's racing drivers from way back when. Anyway, by now, I'm sure you've noticed the trend. These are all really fast cars, as they should be since they're named after some of the fastest people ever. But that's not always the case. Sebastian Loeb, who was the most successful rally driver of all time, got his tribute car too, the Citroën C4 by Loeb, which, apart from the sticker here and the wheels painted white, is no different than what you get in a regular model. It's kind of insulting. Same 0 to 60 time too, 8.3 seconds. Mika Häkkinen, the two-time F1 champion, got his name stuck on this, the 2002 Mercedes A160. Bigger wheels, racing livery, and a gaudy red interior can't hide the fact that this is a first-gen A-Class, which is probably the least sporty car Mercedes had ever made. Takes over 10 seconds to reach 60. Adding insult to injury is the fact that the A160 wasn't even the fastest A-Class available. But worse still is what happened to Mika's arch nemesis, Michael Schumacher. And I'm not even talking about that incident that turned him into a vegetable.
I turned myself into a pickle!
The best Formula driver of all time got his tribute car in the form of a bright yellow Fiat Seicento, the Michael Schumacher edition. It's a tiny car with a 1-liter engine producing just 54 horsepower. It does 0 to 60 in... Ooh, I bet that Schumi could ski faster than that. Speaking of going fast, how does 300 miles per hour sound to you? That's the claim top speed of the Koenigsegg Jesko, which is the latest and thus far the fastest creation from the crazy mind of Christian von Koenigsegg. 1,600 horsepower, a new kind of light-speed transmission, and the aerodynamics capable of piercing a hole in the space-time continuum is what it takes to go faster than some planes. But what does it take to have it named after you? As it turns out, you have to be part of the bald man's family. You see, Jesko von Koenigsegg is Christian's dad, and by putting 2 and 2 together, you should figure out that he was no Steve Jobs kind of dad either. When his son first ventured into the car business at 22 years old with a dream, Jesko supported him financially and later even ran the business side of the company. That way, Chris could focus on reinventing the doors or internal combustion or whatever he's known for. Fast forward to the 2019 Geneva Motor Show where the secret new Koenigsegg car named Ragnarok was about to be revealed. And, well, when I say Ragnarok, I mean Jesko. The PR team had come up with that fake name in order to keep the real one secret from Jesko the dad. And then the cover was pulled. And they say that men don't cry.
Very, very emotional for me.
Moving on with the Lotus. I don't know if you realized it by now, but all their road-going models have a name that starts with the letter E. Check this out. So which one of these do you suspect is named after a real person? This one, the most important one, the Elise. And here's how that happened. In 1993, some rich guy named Romano Artioli, who was really into the car business, bought the struggling Lotus company from GM. But he did have a plan. What this company really needed to get back on track is a back-to-basics kind of car, a simplified mid-engine roadster that would be cheap, light, and fun to fool around in. Around the same time, Artioli became a grandfather too, to a little girl called, spoiler alert, Elisa. And once again, I'll ask you to put 2 and 2 together here. There was even a Jesko-style reveal event too, only this one, better. At the 1995 Frankfurt Motor Show, after a long and boring presentation about the chassis and the company, it was time to pull the covers. That little girl behind the wheel, that's the granddaughter Elisa. How cool is that? Today, she's all grown up and still promoting the car, documenting her road trips on social media, giving interviews, and on top of that, Elisa owns the final Elise ever produced. #I am Lotus Elise. Anyway, before I reveal my number 1 car named after a real person story, here are some honorable mentions. Let's see if you can guess them. And at number 1, how the first mid-engine Fezza got this BB thing in its name. Ferrari claimed that it stood for Berlinetta Boxer, but that can't be true at all. Berlinetta usually means front-engined, which the 365 wasn't, and technically, it didn't have a boxer engine either. That's a flat 12 in there, and there is a difference.
Same, but different.
Anyway, that was the story that they chose to tell, and they stuck with it. It was only some 45 years later that the designer of the car, Leonardo Fioravanti, finally revealed what the BB really stood for. Those were the initials of Brigitte Bardot, Yeah, her. I guess you could say that she was an actress and a singer, but she's really best remembered as the pop icon who led the women's sexual emancipation movement. Just to give you an idea, most guys at the time never even saw a woman in a bikini until Bridget showed up. Needless to say, she had simps all over the world, including Leonardo the designer too, who was so enchanted by Brigitte Bardot that he nicknamed his sexy new car after her, the BB. And I guess that the marketing guys weren't too immune to her charms either, since they allowed the BB name to go on the production model. It's just that officially it could not be linked to Bridget. So they came up with this Berlinetta boxer cover-up story instead. And that's just, wow, one of my favorite car stories of all time right there. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'll see you in the next one. Cut, I'm out! And at number 1, drum roll please. No, that fucking hurt.